Introduce Mr. Rick Colon, who is with our Office of Student Financial Assistance, and he is going to lead us in a discussion about financial aid today. Rick, take it away.
Good afternoon. Thanks for that, Chris. Can you hear me okay? Am I coming through okay?
Yes, you are.
I got a lot of cutting through. I'm not sure if my internet is as good as the rain that's coming down right now, but I'm going to try my best here. Go out there and try to talk to you folks, so everyone here today, about the financial aid process here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right away. As Chris said earlier, with me today is Miss Zilmara and Miss Angelica. We're both from the Office of Student Financial Assistance. They'll be answering questions in the background, so feel free to go ahead and ask questions, anything financial aid wise, whether it's, the Fafsa, the loans, grants, scholarships, bright futures, anything like that. As Chris said, we are pretty good at what we do, but we are excellent at what we do at financial aid. So any other questions, we'll try our best to guide you where to go ahead and get the answers to those questions, but definitely go ahead and stick around and we'll get it going. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's see if this works. Hopefully I'm coming through okay. All right, so student financial aid specialist here, and today I'll be talking to you a little bit about the financial aid process at UCF, the types of financial aid that we have available to you. Towards the end of the presentation, a few things, very important things for you to remember as we go along. So what is the financial aid process? Well, to begin with, any student who is interested to complete the free application for federal student assistance, federal student aid, or the Fafsa as it is known, this Fafsa is required every year, and to qualify, whether it be grants, loans, or scholarships, you want to submit this Fafsa. The Fafsa becomes available
Okay, so it looks like we may have lost Rick. As I mentioned, we've got some pretty bad thunderstorms rolling through Florida today. So Rick, it looks like you're back, but we did cut out. So are you okay to restart? Okay, you're muted at the moment. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's what I'll do to consume less bandwidth. I'm going to turn my video camera off.
That's fine.
And see if that helps. Okay.
Sounds good. If need be, we can also share your presentation for you while you speak. So we'll give this a shot and see if that works.
Let's try it this way. Yeah, let's try this.
Yep.
All right, let's try it again. We're going to resume the slideshow. All right, so hopefully, as I said earlier, everyone caught that. Anybody who's interested in federal financial assistance, I'm going to move back one slide. You want to go ahead and come every year on October 1st. And as I said, it's used to determine your federal, institutional, and state aid. And I lost connection again. This is not good.
Rick, you're still connected. We can still hear you. You're good.
Oh, you can? Okay, good. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
All right. Let's keep going on that. So, This is a first for me and never happened before, so bear with me. I appreciate everybody's patience on this. So the FAFSA becomes available October 1st every single year. And we highly encourage all our students every single year to submit the FAFSA as early as possible. There's some financial aid assistance out there that a lot of students have eligibility for, and I'll talk to you a little bit more as we go along the presentation that they do qualify for, but may I'm sorry, are eligible for, but do not qualify for it because they submitted the FAFSA after the UCF priority date. As you can see on your screen, that is December 1st. This is not a deadline. This is a priority date. So what this means again is in order for us to give you the maximum consideration for some types of financial aid, institutional and state, you want to submit the FAFSA early. October 1st, it becomes available. Honestly, there's really no reason for anyone to wait because you're using prior year tax information from prior year. So I encourage you, go ahead and submit that FAFSA as early as you can, hopefully before December 1st, so you can start qualifying for those types of financial assistance. And if you're coming in for the summer, if anybody is coming in for the summer, you want to make sure you complete the 2000. Right, you're planning to come in for the fall, you want to complete the 2022 FAFSA. That FAFSA is going to use the 2019 tax return information. Now, students, one FAFSA is not going to do it. If you're interested in any type of federal financial assistance, as a matter of fact, any financial aid at all, I encourage you to go out there and apply every single year. The official website you want to go to is studentaid.gov. On there, it'll show you exactly where you got to go. Click on it, log in, create a new account, and save that information so that you can log on to it every single year and update that FAFSA. So if you're coming to UCF and you're an in-state Florida resident, if you're a Florida resident, your cost of attendance is going to be roughly about $22,424. The tuition and fees that you see out there, that's based on 14 hours in the fall, 14 hours in the spring. So about 24, 28 credit hours is what you can see out there. What's going to cost you as far as tuition, room, board, transportation, books, personal expenses. These can all fluctuate depending on, for example, where do you decide to live? This room and board that you see out there is if you're living without your parents, if you decide to come on or off campus. So it's going to be roughly about $6,100 more or less. Of course, the dining and all that, as far as food and all, it's going to be about 4,100. But the tuition and fees currently, it's about $212.28 for every credit hours of enrollment. And again, what you see on your screen is about 5,954 based on 14 hours of enrollment, and that is for a Florida resident. If you are a non-Florida resident, then your tuition and fees, as you can see on your screen, is going to be significantly higher. Room, board, transportation, books, and personal expenses, whether you're in state or out of state, it's going to be virtually the same. Again, depending on don't mind dorming in with 3 or 4 other students, then their room it might be a little bit less than what you see there. If you're a student that wishes to just rent an apartment on their own, then what you see out there is going to probably be a little bit higher for you. But again, these are estimates. These are not exact numbers. It is on our website. There's a calculator on our website, also a net price calculator that we have on the website that I encourage you to go out there and look at so that you can have a rough estimate of what your cost of attendance is going to be here at UCF. So the types of financial aid that you can receive here at UCF to assist with that cost of attendance are a few. If you're a Florida Bright Futures, if you're a Florida student, you can be eligible for the Florida Bright Futures. to receive the Florida Bright UCF, and this is only for high school students, with students who graduated high school here in Florida. It is a Florida award, and you have to be a Florida resident or graduated from a Florida high school. You want to stay in touch with your high school guidance counselor, as well as the Office of Student Financial Assistance, the OSPA website for Florida. Make sure that they have your records, that everything is updated. Log on to your portal if you are a Florida Bright Futures recipient, and make sure that you have UCF selected as your school of choice. Otherwise, when we go out there to you and ask for them for what's called a master eligibility list, we won't receive your information because you did not include UCF as your school of choice. You will also be eligible, considered for the UCF Pegasus, which is awarded from the undergraduate admissions office. More than likely, your college or your major also provides some form of scholarship assistance. There's also private, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we go along. Grants are need-based aid. You have the federal Pell Grant, you have the federal student opportunity grant, you have the federal Florida Student Assistance Grant, you have the UCF grant. There are a lot more grants out there now. With the exception of the Florida Pell Grants, all these other grants, those are the grants that you could potentially qualify for. These grants range anywhere between $100 upwards of $5, maybe $6,000, $7,000 or more in total. You have the eligibility, but you won't qualify for it, students, if you submit the FAFSA after the 1st of December. Don't wait again till December. Don't wait until after that week of October 1st. As soon as it comes out, go out there and look for that FAFSA, that new FAFSA every single year, and submit it. With the FAFSA, you can also potentially qualify for the federal work study. This is a great need-based aid award. Not all students are eligible for it. And just because you check the box off on the FAFSA that you are interested in work study does not necessarily mean you're going to receive it, but it does let us know that you are interested. And if you meet all the criteria, one of those being December 1st, prior to December 1st, you will be given that consideration. All students, if not the majority of all students, will automatically be considered for a non-need-based financial aid federal direct loan. And that is going to be the unsubsidized, but every student out there will be eligible for this loan. Very easy to get, very hard to get out of it. So the grants, as I said, the federal Pell Grant is one of the largest student aid grant programs available. It helps you with your room and board and all that. The maximum this year is about $6,400, and that is the biggest one out there. You have the Florida Student Assistance Grant. This is another grant that you can qualify for, but you got to submit the FAFSA very early. The Florida Student Assistance Grant is about $2,000, depending on the funding available. Not all students who have the eligibility will get it. Again, you got to submit that FAFSA early. The earlier, the better. The Federal Student Educational Opportunity Grant. This is another great grant that you can go ahead and qualify for as well. I encourage you students, visit our financial aid website. Go on there, you can see a whole listing of grants that you could potentially qualify for and what other requirements for you to get information to in order to go ahead and get those awards. Again, Florida Bright Futures, it is determined by the state. We here at UCF, at the Office of Student Financial Assistance, all we do is reach out to the Florida Department of Education. We ask them which of these students are eligible for the Florida Bright Futures. If you did not select UCF as your school of choice, we will not receive that information. So you want to make sure you add UCF, your school of choice, on there. I don't believe there's any other universities here in Florida, so it should be pretty easy for you to go ahead and select UCF. Otherwise, you would have to go out of state to go into another university because, again, UCF, my understanding, I'm kidding, but definitely, if you come into UCF, go ahead and add UCF as your school of choice. It does pay per credit hour. So even though you might see an estimate on your financial aid, my UCF account, that
Rick, it looks like we lost you again. So we're going to give you a second to see if your connection comes back. I can hear the thunder rolling outside of my house, and I'm not exactly sure where you are right now. But let's give just a second to see if his connection comes back here. There we go.
But no, it is not required.
Hey, Chris,
All
I'm
right.
back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rick. Yes, sir.
How about we do this? Let's skip the presentation, and they always have questions anyway. I mean, I can talk a little bit more about it. Again, I'll leave this PowerPoint out of the way. It's raining upside down, literally. If you're here, it's the rain bounces on the floor and it's going up. So
Yeah.
just to recap with you guys, I mean, it's basically students. One of the most important things you want to understand is submit the FAFSA early. Know that there's plenty of opportunities out there for you as students. You may not have received a scholarship from undergraduate admissions, but our office does offer the access to opportunity. That is also, as we call it, known over here as A20. I encourage you to go there now. There's over probably 200 plus scholarships available, and we are updating this almost every other week. And so definitely encourage you students, go out there once a week, every week, and see what you can apply for, especially that link that is titled external. You want to go out there and go ahead and look at those scholarships and see what you can qualify for, because students, every one of you out there who completes a FAFSA will more than likely qualify for a loan. And it's very easy to get a loan. As I said earlier, your first year here, you're going to qualify for about $5,500. Your second year, $6,500. Third, fourth year, about $7,500 apiece. And if you throw in the summer in there as well, before you graduate, students, you're going to be about $31,000 in student loan debt. Very easy. Why? Because you have to complete 3 steps. Complete the FAFSA, complete the master promissory note, and the entrance counseling interview. And right off the bat, here's $5,500. So what do? Do I go ahead and apply for scholarships, write essays left and right? You know, do I go out there, do research? Do I have to do this and hope that I get a scholarship? Or do I just go ahead and check a box on my UCF and get $5,000 and that's it, 6,000 the next semester or the next year, and so on and so forth? Because the job that I'm planning to get, it's going to pay me significantly enough that I go ahead and pay back those loans pretty quick. Just keep in mind, the loans are out there if you absolutely need them, not if you want them, but if you absolutely need them, meaning that the financial aid that you have may not be enough to cover all of your expenses. So if you need the loan, go out there and accept the loan, but only accept what you need. So just because you see $5,000 on your MyUCF and you know you only need $2,000, then go ahead and check the box and readjust that $5,000 to $2,000. But I can almost guarantee you, that students, if you dedicate time to it, you will find a scholarship out there. I've had a lot of students who have been very successful. And to paraphrase one of our inventors out there, everyone know who Thomas Edison is, right? The founder of McDonald's, once said, I'm kidding, it's the guy who did the light, right? Okay, so just I'm sure making sure everybody's paying attention. So what he once said before, you know, had he given up on his 99th try, we'd all be sitting in the dark right now. So it was that one more try that he gave it, that one more push that he was able to go ahead and find how to create that light bulb finally, how to get that scholarship, if you will. Students, the average time that we spend online, yes, we spend online, whether it's, Netflixing and chilling, TikToking, Instagramming, whatever, is amazing. The average person spends about 24 hours online every single week. So I ask this real quick. A lot of my students is, what do you want to make once you graduate as far as income? A lot of students start in the $80,000 range. And I'm like, great, take $80,000, divide that into a 40-hour work week. That's about $38 a week, an hour that you're going to get paid. So if you take 1 week and 1 week only, anytime you're online, students, when you're doing something else, then instead of searching for scholarships, understand what you are worth, what your time is worth. Remember, in business, time is money and your time is money. So you don't want to spend your time and not make money per se. Go out there and see every time that you're doing, again, Netflixing, chilling, TikToking, whatever, go out there and clock in and clock out. And at the end of the week, tally that up. And let's say you are the average person and you spend 24 hours online doing absolutely anything else but looking for scholarship. Take that 24 and multiply it by 38. That's roughly about $946 of your time that you're throwing out the window every single week. So once a week, go out there and go ahead and click that link and see what you can qualify for. Get that FAFSA done early so that we can get that FAFSA process for you and definitely get you going with out there. I'll go here at UCF is your success. Again, your success is our success, and we'll try everything in the right way to get you that financial aid. So know that we are here to assist you. Any questions, any concerns, just because it's happening to your friend, your sister, your uncle, or whatnot about financial aid, don't assume that because it's happening to them is exactly the same thing that's happening to you. Make sure you reach out to us, reach out to the experts on this, because every student is individual, case by case. So definitely reach out to us and go from there. I keep cutting in and off, so I don't want to do anything. I do apologize for it. It has stopped raining a little bit, so hopefully that works a little bit. But that is, I'll do that as much as I can. If I can open the floor up for everyone and see what we can. I'm almost afraid to turn on my video, so I'm not even going to do that. So.
No worries, Rick. Definitely appreciate you giving this great information during today's session. Now we're just going to dive into some of the questions that we got in the Q&A because we
Absolutely.
have quite a few. Now, a lot of the questions in here are pertaining to Bright Futures. So most students and parents want to know when they should anticipate seeing that Bright Futures as part of their financial aid package.
As a freshman, all students who have already been admitted to UCF should have received a notification of their financial aid package. Now, that package, as I said earlier, the Bright Futures that you will see in there is based on the information that you provided to the undergraduate admissions application. So your SATs, your hours, and all that information, we estimate that this, according to what you gave us, you may be eligible for the Florida Bright Futures, whether it's the academic, which pays 100%, or the medallion. Now, after July 1st, we'll reach out to the Florida Bright Futures again and ask them for that master eligibility list. And they will definitely let us know who is receiving it, and we'll post that information out there. So if you don't see it now, but you are eligible for it, you've been notified for it, don't worry about it. It'll be showing up there after July 1st. If you're coming in for the summer, it might show a little sooner. So definitely, if you know you got it, we'll receive that information at a later date.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And then we do have a question here in regards to selective service. So the question is, my son has his selective service form is pending. When will it go through so that he can see any loans available to him?
Yeah, so the selective service is ongoing. We're actually, because if it's for the summer, it's going to happen any moment now. If it's for the fall, it's going to take a little bit longer because we're taking care of the students who are coming in for the summer first. But know that as soon as that form is taken care of, usually it's about a 20-day turnaround time, business days, not Saturdays and Sundays, excluding holidays. it is updated. That information comes off, and then you'll see the financial aid show up on your account. But rest assured, if you know that everything you turn in is accurate, it's updated, and it's ready to go, you will see that financial aid show up on the account in time before the fees are due. I did hear that the question said loans, but you don't need a selective service for scholarship students. So as of yesterday, you should be looking for scholarships. Again, the loans are guaranteed. No question about it. I'm a huge advocate when it comes to scholarship students and parents. So yes, if you did turn those documents in, we'll eventually go ahead and update that information, and you will see the loan show up on your account in time before the fees are due.
Perfect, thank you. And then we also have a few questions in regards to financial aid packages. So the student has already been offered admission, but they are not yet able to view their financial aid through the receive an email. What would be their best route at this point in time to get that information?
So there's a couple of reasons right off the bat, and more than a couple actually, but your FAFSA, remember, as I said earlier, hopefully you caught it at the beginning of the presentation. There's two FAFSAs out there. If you're coming in for the summer, that is the 2021, 2020, 2021. And then if you're coming in for the fall and going forward from the fall, it's the 21, 22. So it's possible that either one of those FAFSAs that you have submitted, it's either missing your UCF school code, the federal school code, or there's a mismatch with your either name, your birth date, or your social. So you want to make sure you look at your FAFSA, make sure that your personal bio information is accurate, birth date, social, and all that information, and check on your application with the undergraduate admissions office as well. The vast majority of the students that I've been seeing lately, the problem is with their social not matching with what we have on file. So it's either because of one digit, inverted or whatnot, but check for those on both sides. And whatever you need to make the correction, by all means, go ahead and make that correction. I know that the undergrad admissions office has a tool on their website that they can upload that information automatically if the correction needs to be made with them. But if none of that is it, then I would encourage the student to go onto our financial aid website and click on the appointments link so that they can set up a virtual appointment with us. We can see them face to face. We can then go ahead and see what the information is, if it's more in detailed or whatnot. But in general, the majority of the students that I'm seeing is because there's a mismatch with their bio information. Again, whether it's their birth date, their name, or their social. But feel free to go ahead and set up the appointment, the virtual appointment with us, and we'll be happy to go ahead and assist you with that.
And as a follow-up to that, because you did mention that students have to be sure that if they're entering for summer, they complete the 2020-2021 FAFSA. What is the deadline to submit that FAFSA for the summer session?
Well, deadline. If I say deadline, students, would you promise not to wait? The deadline is June 30th. There's absolutely no need to wait, though. I mean, if you have access to it now, go for it. Definitely go for it. But you have until June 30th as of right now to submit that FAFSA. But even if you submit it on June 30th, it's going to delay a lot of your financial aid process, even if it's a loan or if one of your scholarships requires you to have a social. And if your FAFSA has, not a social, I'm sorry, if one of your scholarships require you to have a FAFSA on file, but your social or your birth date is mismatching. So once we're done today, this afternoon, hopefully by 6, 7 o'clock, when you have a moment, go onto that FAFSA and submit those FAFSAs that you are missing. Absolutely. But you have until June 30th.
Perfect, thank you. Then we have some questions here in regards to the A20 scholarships. So the student has already gone in there and they've applied for a few of these awards. When should they anticipate hearing back as to whether or not they were actually granted the scholarship?
Absolutely. One, I guess, tip I can tell you is if you submit the scholarship and the deadline said it was today, today's the deadline, 60 days after today, if you do not receive an update or notification, then it's safe to assume that another student was selected. You can also, again, go back onto that same A20 website. And if you see that same scholarship out there, you can reapply for it. As long as it's out there, you are good to go on that. So I definitely encourage you go out there once a week, every week, but usually from the deadline, 60 days after that is when they already have selected a student. No more than 60 days, I should say. I'm sorry.
Perfect, thanks, Rick. And then a few of the questions that came in are kind of asking, like, what's the order of financial aid disbursing or when it's charged with tuition? So for example, if a student has a UCF scholarship, Florida Bright Futures, and prepaid, in what order will they be charged tuition and fees?
Great question. And this is, and I'm gonna give you a general, but this is a question for the Office of Student Financial Services. We are student financial aid, or they're also known as student accounts. The way you can distinguish the both of us is student financial aid tries to get you money, student financial services tries to take that money. So if anything, they those are the folks that assess late the charges to your account and whatnot, and they use that financial aid um, to apply to your tuition and fees. But the way I look at it, and I tell my students, is basically you have one big giant piggy bank of financial aid. The only award that usually gets dispersed first or billed first is your Florida prepaid. Um, all the other awards, if your account is ready, could almost simultaneously begin dispersing the second week of classes. So that second Thursday of classes, right before the fees are due, that's when everything begins dispersing. So whether it's Bright Futures, loans, grant scholarships, it is all dispersed to Student Financial Services. They will go ahead and apply it to whatever you owe, beginning with your tuition, then your on-campus housing, and only your on-campus housing, and then of course dining services if you have a dining services, any books or anything like that. But the way it is applied, it is your tuition and fees, on-campus housing, and then your all those other charges. If you don't have any other charges but tuition and fees, and say that you have an excess of financial assistance, that excess will then be sent to you in the form of a refund, usually the third week of classes. If you have a direct deposit set up, that'll be sent to you. Then you can use those funds for other college related expenses. For example, any off campus housing, then you can use those funds. But keep in mind, that doesn't happen until probably the third, maybe the fourth week of classes. So if you owe rent on August 1st, we don't disperse until the third week of August, as an example. You want to make sure that you at least have the August month's rent ready. And then when your financial aid comes in, if you are eligible for a refund, it comes right back to you. But again, no one financial aid disperses, but tuition gets taken care of first.
Perfect, thank you. And then we do
Sure.
have questions in here about the different types of loans. So what is the difference between a subsidized and unsubsidized loan? I apologize. And so sorry, my internet froze. I lost the question, but yeah, let's just,
Sure.
what is the question between, what is the subsidized versus unsubsidized loans?
Well, great question. And if my presentation was working, you would have had that answer. But anyway, I'm glad you asked. The difference between the two, the subsidized is a need-based loan. Not all students will be eligible for it. That is the one where the government waives the interest while you're in school. That is the subsidized. Now, the unsubsidized, it is not a need-based loan. The vast majority of the students will be eligible for the unsubsidized. However, the government does not waive the interest for you while you're in school. Now, neither one is required for you to begin repaying on it until after you've graduated or 6 months after you graduate, or if you fall below 6 credit hours. So in order for you to maintain the deferment of repayment, students, you have to be enrolled at least 6 credit hours or more each term. Otherwise, that loan would go into repayment shortly thereafter. But again, subsidized is a need-based. Government waives the interest for you. Not all students qualify for it. The unsubsidized, Almost all students will be eligible for it, will qualify for it, and that is the one where the government does not waive the interest for you.
Perfect, thank you. Now, is there a specific deadline by when it's to accept any aid off the FAFSA?
Late in the semester, you will get a notification that, hey, you have not accepted your loans. And before I move on, let me be clear on this. The only financial aid that a student needs to take action on, either accept, decline, or reduce, are the loans as well as the work study if eligible for. Your grants, your scholarships will be automatically accepted for you when your file is ready. So all those other awards, again, those gift aid, if you will be automatically accepted for you, but only the loans and the grants, I'm sorry, the loans and the work study will require your action to either accept, decline, or reduce. And usually around the middle of the semester, you'll start receiving a notification somewhat that says, hey, you have not accepted your loans. We're going to go ahead and cancel those out if you do not. So you have some window, so you don't have to immediately accept them. You could wait a little bit longer. And, once you factor in all those scholarships that you got, you realize that you don't need a loan after all. And then you don't have to worry about it. But if all those scholarships are not enough, then yeah, about mid semester.
Perfect. And we have quite a few questions about scholarships. So maybe we want to tackle this one together, Rick.
Sure.
So I'm going to start
Absolutely.
off discussing the merit scholarships just a little bit further. And then maybe you can give further insight on different scholarships that students can also search for through your department.
Absolutely.
So in regards to the merit scholarships that are offered through undergraduate admissions, at this late in the academic year, these are being reviewed, but more so on a case-by-case basis through an appeals process. The reason being, we did allocate the vast majority of this funding already. By early December, for the most part, we don't have as much funding for these opportunities remaining, which is an important reason that we always tell students to go ahead and apply to the university as early as possible. So at this point, if you do want to be reconsidered or considered for a merit scholarship, you can definitely connect with us scholarships@ucf.edu. One of my colleagues can go ahead and put that email address in the chat for you all, and we'll be happy to go ahead and discuss the appeals process further. Now, if you already have a merit scholarship from us, you are able to view it through your MyUCF portal. So you would have received a letter in the mail and you would have access to it through MyUCF. Now turning it over to you, Rick, about different opportunities that students can also look into.
Thanks for that. Yes, absolutely. And as I did mention earlier, there is the access to opportunities, A20. Um, Definitely, we are consistently updating that information on there. One thing I do want to point out, besides that, if you are a recipient of a scholarship, not Bright Futures, not the merit, but any scholarship outside of UCF, you want to notify the office through your MyUCF portal. There is a self-reporting tool. You want to click on it, follow the instructions, let us know that you are a recipient of a scholarship, either from your high school, your church, your Kiwanis Club or whatnot. Let us know so that we can put this on your file so it can help with your deferment. But on our website, as well as there's a huge website out there called fastweb.com. It's over 600,000 scholarships. So it is very intensive, but definitely I encourage you to check those out. But again, on our website, it's a matter of time. And just to give you a little background, students, parents, about 7 years ago, I did have one of our students, and I did tell him, I sat with him, I let him know the importance of time and how time is money and so on and so forth. And just to dedicate a couple of hours a week on there, he was able to get in total his year here about $64,000 worth of scholarships. So it is possible. You do have to dedicate time and look for every scholarship out there. And I say every single one because you've all heard the phrase, never judge a book by its cover. So definitely want to apply that too, because if you see a scholarship out there that says, I don't know, the UCF men's rowing team, and you automatically assume that, hey, I'm not a rower, that's not for me. But when you click on it and you read the qualifications might read, hey, be a full-time university student at UCF and have a FAFSA on file. And because you read the title, you assume that it's not for you, you lost out on that opportunity. So I encourage you, that's where the time comes in. Go out there and look at it and see what you can apply for. We're always updating that information. And again, if you did receive any scholarship besides the Florida Bright Futures, prepaid, or anything from undergrad admissions, notify us through that My UCF portal so that it can help with your deferment. I didn't say deferment, what deferment was, but basically, real quick, a deferment is if you have financial aid, that financial aid can help push your due date for your tuition and fees to about 60 days later. So if your financial aid is pending, some documents, for example, as someone asked earlier about their selective service, if you have financial aid on there, whether it's a scholarship, grant, or loans, that will help push your tuition due date back about 60 days. That's what a deferment does. And that's why we encourage you that if you know you are a recipient of a scholarship from outside of UCF, check that My UCF portal, report it so that it can help push back that date. And that way you won't incur any late fees or anything like that.
Right. And then we know, Rick, given the pandemic, some families' FAFSAs may not be an accurate reflection of where their finances currently stand. So if some of our families joining us this afternoon are in that predicament, how would they go about appealing their current financial aid package and providing more updated information to us?
Great question. Yes, thank you for that. Absolutely. So if one of my colleagues, either Angelica or Zamora, can put the professional judgment link on the section there. Yeah, but well, basically what we do have is called a professional judgment, where we will look at your special circumstance or your extenuating circumstance. For example, in the year 2019, you were making okay income, you were great and everything, but here comes the pandemic, you lost your job, loss of income, change of job, change of income. The thing is, you're not making that same income that you were making back then, what you reported on the FAFSA. So what we do is when you submit to us a professional judgment appeal, we look at your current situation and see if we can go ahead and approve that. If it is approved based on the documents that you gave us, then there's a chance that you may be eligible for more aid, hopefully more gift aid. But you do want to go out and to our website, and the link was just provided on there, and click on that, read what can be considered or used for professional judgment. And right at the bottom, there's a contact information. Students, any contact that you submit to us, any communication you send to us, make sure that you include your UCF ID number. That ID number is going to help us look at your account and get it done quicker, as opposed to going back and say, hey, can you provide us your UCF ID number? But yes, we can look at your current status right now with a professional judgment. You just have to provide some documentation to us. Keep in mind, though, that if you are approved, you may not necessarily receive the financial aid that you were expecting, because the expected family contribution, or your FAFSA, did not drop down significantly enough to make you eligible for that. But I encourage you to go ahead and do it anyway, and let us look at your file. As I said earlier, our goal here is to try to help our student obtain that degree through the means of financial assistance. So if we can do it, we'll absolutely do that through that professional judgment.
Thanks for that information, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
And now we do have a few more questions regarding Bright Futures. So the first one, can you repeat, I know you mentioned it during the presentation, but can you review again how a student would indicate to Bright Futures at UCF is their school of choice?
Absolutely, yeah. I did mention, and I was kidding, earlier about UCF being the only university in Florida, but as far as I know, I mean, we are one of the best, if not the best, right? So what you do on the OSFA website, you have basically a Bright Futures portal, and you can check with your high school guidance counselor or contact Bright Futures directly. on there, there's a section that's going to ask you, where do you want your information, your Bright Futures information to be sent to? So you go to the Florida Bright Futures website, log on as the student, look for that section that reads School of Choice, and then select UCF on there. If you have any issues, any troubles, any, you need some assistance, I encourage you, there's a contact information for support for the Bright Futures. They are the expert. They manage this. You want to reach out to them for that assistance. We don't manage that, so we don't want to misguide you, if you will. There will be the experts on that, so reach out to them. But it is through the Florida Bright Futures portal, if you will, that you go ahead and indicate that you want your information to be sent to UCF.
And then as a follow-up to that in regards to Bright Futures, does a student have to do anything each year for that to be renewed, or does that happen automatically as long as they meet those renewal requirements?
Yes, the answer is right in the question. There's nothing that you need to do that first time around or any time around, as long as you meet the renewal criteria. And I'll give you a couple of those. If you are a Florida academic scholars, you have to maintain a 3.0 GPA. If you're a Florida medallion, you have to maintain a 2.75 GPA in order to maintain it. Both ask or both require that whatever classes or whatever credits you enroll in, you need to complete those. The minimum hours that you are required in order to receive it is 6 credit hours. So if you enroll in 6 in the fall and 6 in the spring, then as long as you complete those 6 credits for each term, at the end of the spring, we'll review your eligibility and you're good. Now, the majority of the students enroll in 12 credit hours for each term or more. But keep in mind, whatever you enroll in for each term, you need to complete. For financial aid and only financial aid, complete when it comes to a grade is a D or more. So as long as you complete that class with a D or more, Bright Futures will consider it as complete, and you should be reconsider that for the future. So in essence, whatever you enroll in, 6 or more, make sure you complete, make sure you can maintain a 2.75 and that you maintain a 3.0 respectively on each one of those.
Perfect. And then I know we have a few questions in the Q&A in regards to the Knight Scholarship. So from the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, we do offer a top 10 Knights Award. However, it is not a scholarship that is guaranteed for all of our top 10 Knights in any way. With the Top 10 Knights program, it is a guaranteed offer of admission and guaranteed spot in on-campus housing if you apply for housing by May 1st, but there is no guaranteed scholarship or monetary benefits associated with the program, just to clarify that for the folks who are joining us today. Now, we also have a question in regards to the textbook opt-in process. So can books still be purchased or rented from Amazon, right?
That's great. Wow, man, these are great questions. They've done their research. This is great. Maybe we'd hopefully they'll come in here. We're a great research school, and it looks like we got great students out there making great questions. So the book purchase program cannot be used for any books outside of the on-campus bookstore or the one at Rosen. The one at downtown, I believe, is linking into it. If you wish to buy books through Amazon, we have another option, and Miss Zilmara is the one that manages that, and I hope she'll put the link information about what's called the short-term advance. And what the short-term advance is basically is, this is a form that becomes available about 30 days before the beginning of the semester. And the short-term advance can give you up to $600 in advance of your financial aid refund. Remember, as I said, your refund, if you're eligible for it, does not kick in until the 3rd week of classes. You need your books the 1st week of classes. The form becomes available 30 days before the 1st week of classes. That 2 weeks before classes begin, we'll start processing that. If it's approved, you'll receive $600 in advance. And for the other sake of word, I would say you receive $600 either direct deposit or in a check, which then you can use those funds to purchase your books anywhere. whether it's on Amazon, Chags, or, on campus or whatever. What I can say is that on-campus bookstore, and you want to make sure you check this with them, they do match prices. So if you were to select the opt-in book purchase program, and once you select the book purchase program, you cannot get out of it. You won't be able to do a short-term advance. You can only do one or the other. But if you do the opt-in book purchase program and you find that book less expensive elsewhere, notify that bookstore, our campus bookstore, and they will definitely, my understanding is that they will match the price to it. In fact, they might even give it to you a little less than what you see it where you saw it. So check with the bookstore on that, and definitely, but you cannot use the opt-in book purchase program. You cannot use it. Only use it on the on-campus bookstore at the Rosen, and pretty soon downtown, I believe you'll be able to do that. So remember that, students, if you see it somewhere else and it's less expensive, use the short-term advance or notify the bookstore. And if they match the price, then go ahead and opt in.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that for us.
Sure.
Now, can you tell us students should know their final costs for the fall 2021, or let's say even summer 2021? And what would be the process for students to go ahead and take out a loan?
So for the summer, and again, and this is individual, that's why we put the estimated cost of attendance on our website. It is an estimate only, but what I can say for sure, students, is that if you are enrolling in 6 credit hours, basically like what I said before, you're looking at about $212.28 for every credit. So one credit is going to cost you about 212, include fees and all that other stuff, maybe about 220, rounded off. So take that number, multiply by the number of credit hours, that's what your tuition is going to be. So if you're not coming on campus, if you're not moving away from home for the summer, if you're doing online, then your only expenses is going to be your tuition and fees and probably books. And if you can shop for your books now, more or less, not right now, not until you know where your classes are or what your syllabus is, but the earlier you know about it, the better. But we don't have an exact cost, what it's going to cost for each student. It is an estimate. But the best I can tell you is that your tuition is going to be about $220 more or less. And then the financial aid, once you register for classes in the summer, shortly thereafter, whatever financial aid you may be eligible for, if not sooner, will show up on your account. And then you'll be able to make a decision as to, well, this is how much my books are going to cost. I know this is what my tuition is going to cost. So this is how much financial aid I might need, or how much of a loan I might need. And then you can go from there. Hopefully that answered the question.
Perfect. So we have a few questions in regards to bright futures, and I know we've had a few of these already. It's definitely a hot topic,
Yeah,
understandably so. So the question is in regards to students that might be retesting, or they might be completing ACE requirements to qualify for the 100% Bright Futures. By when will the university get this finalized information? And is there a specific deadline that you would know of that they have to get this to Bright Futures to qualify for that higher tier?
So yeah, so the last question, definitely Bright Futures is your people. Those are the folks you want to go to. Ask them that question, how can I go up to a higher tier if it's still possible? Whatever Bright Futures you're eligible for, remember, after July 1st, we're going to reach out to Bright Futures again and ask them for that master eligibility list. So if Bright Futures says you have until June 30th to submit your scores, then, and they go for it, we'll get that information. But again, I can't stress it enough. You want to go to Bright Futures. You want to ask them exactly what that date is, if there is a date. My understanding, and again, I have to be clear, there's only my understanding, and I don't want to give any false hopes, but I understand that because of the pandemic, they've pushed some things further back. But exactly what those things are, folks, you want to reach out to the Florida Department of Education, OSFA, financial aid, and ask them about that. Hopefully either Xiomara or Angelica, they can put the contact number out there, the 800 number out there for you. So either tomorrow morning or sometime this week, do not wait. Definitely reach out to them and ask them those questions. But after July 1st, we'll reach out to them again, and whatever information they give us, if you're there, we're going to post it.
Great. And can you share, Greg, if a student's financial aid, is the student's financial aid of aid that they will receive, or is this just an estimate of how much it will cost attendance?
So our office, again, is charged with the task of letting you know what your estimated financial aid is going to be. Your cost, again, that's going to be on your due charges. When you log on to your My UCF, on there, you're going to click on View My Account or View Account. From that View Account, you'll be able to see what your charges are, your tuition, and if you have on-campus housing, any books, anything on there. You would also click on View Financial Aid. That's what we do. We'll post your financial aid, what it's going to be as of right now until after the week of ad drop. What you see out there is an estimate. And again, like I said before, it's based on full-time enrollment. And full-time enrollment for every undergraduate student is 12 credit hours or more. So what you see out there is going to be based on 12 credit hours or more. Bright Futures is the only one that is estimated to be 14 credit hours. So what you see out there is 14 credit hours. As an example, you might see $2,700 today, but the week after the ad drop, it drops down to $2,000. And you're asking, what happened? Well, basically, because you're only enrolled in 12 and not 14, the adjustment was made. So keep that in mind. But everything you see out there currently, it is going to be an estimate. And if nothing changes between now and then what you see is what you get.
Now, can you share with us, Rick, if a student's total financial aid package, so grants, any potential loans, scholarships, whether it be a merit scholarship or a third-party scholarship, if this package exceeds the cost of attendance, how is the aid impacted?
Oh man, these guys doing their research. This is good. Yeah, so a student can receive federal need-based aid up to their cost of attendance. So let's just say you are receiving a Pell Grant, you're receiving UCF grant, the Florida Student Assistance Grant, Bright Futures, all of these awards, including, just for as an example, you're receiving the Pegasus Scholarship from undergraduate admissions, one of those merit scholarships, I should say. That award puts you at $25,000 for in-state student. Well, when you receive that scholarship from undergrad admissions, it states that you can receive this much minus anything else that's already been, you can't go above your cost of attendance. So what we do is we adjust anything that goes above your cost of attendance. So we begin with your unsubsidized loan, your subsidized loan, and then that merit scholarship. So we begin to reduce that until you reach that cost of attendance. Now, there are some scholarships out there that say, I don't care if you go over your cost of attendance, this money is yours, and that's different. But as far as federal and institutional state aid, we have to abide by the regulations that you can only receive financial aid up to your cost of attendance. Very seldom does that happen, but it does. And if it does, the adjustment is made in that order. Again, unsubsidized, if you took out an unsubsidized loan, we'll reduce it or take it away. We'll take off the subsidized loan. That is so that we can make room for that gift aid. If you don't have any loans, but you only have the merit scholarship, then we'll have to reduce that merit scholarship to make room in that cost of attendance of yours.
So we've gotten a few questions in regards to the transportation fee and the estimated cost of attendance. Can you clarify exactly what this fee is?
Well, transportation is a question, and I can't even begin, but I want you to contact the Office of Student Financial Services, or their student accounts office. And you would have to reach out to them because those are the folks that manage the tuition, your fees, your charges, all that. They manage that. There's some fees in there that only they know the answers to. So definitely reach out to the Office of Student Financial Services. They're also known as student accounts. If Angelica or Z can put their contact number with the option on who to contact, and that way you can reach out to them via phone and they'll let you know exactly what that is.
Perfect, thanks, Rick.
Mhm.
And how is a student able to indicate if they have a 529 plan or a similar college investment plan?
So 529, similar to the Florida prepaid, all that is managed through the Office of Student Financial Services. Those are basically considered third-party payments, but it is through the Office of Student Financial Services, student accounts. They will be able to answer you that directly. Like I said earlier, with the Florida prepaid, there's nothing you really need to do as long as your bio information is accurate with admissions. What the student account office does is they'll automatically bill prepaid out there. 529 is a little different, but they are the folks that you can ask about that question. I believe the phone number was out there. Wait for those prompts, that prompt, and select prompt number 4 because it will misdirect you. It sounds like you're calling them, but you got to wait for those prompts to make sure that you get to the right office. And that's going to be prompt number 4. But the 529, as well as the Florida prepaid, any third party payments, for example, VA or anything like that, those are the folks that manage that. And you want to reach out to them for that.
Can you share with us when or if there is a specific deadline for when students have to notify us of any external scholarships that they may receive? Or may have
Yes,
received?
absolutely. Yeah, great question. Again, you want as soon as you know, students, as soon as you know, because again, this is more of a benefit to you than it is anything else. Because the sooner you can let us know, the sooner we can post this award notification, if you will, onto your account. The sooner that deferment can kick in. If you receive the notification and you wait, where you're for whatever reason you're waiting longer than it should, it's just going to delay you. It's going to delay the process and you may not get that deferment in time. So as soon as you know, go ahead and get it. There is a deadline for you to report it through your MyUCF, again, usually around midterm. But what happens if you receive a scholarship after that portal, if you will, has closed? Then all you need to do is just notify the office. You can send a check to us. You can go ahead and email us, letting us know that I got a check. Make sure whatever you send to the office, whatever office it is on campus, include that UCF ID number, so we'll know where to apply it to. Because it closes around midterm, because not midterm, but shortly after the fees are due. Um, because any scholarship that comes in from an outside source is to help for your deferment. Once the deferment is over, there really isn't no need for you to use the portal report because that's what it's for. I hope that made sense. It was a lot in 1 second, but hopefully that made sense. But yeah, shortly after the deferment date is when that door closes. But don't wait.
And this is a great question, interesting question, I would say, right? Can UCF financial assistance price match assistance given from other universities?
Yes, that is a great question. And here's what I tell my students. If unfortunately, unlike a Best Buy or Publix or anything like that, you can't. There's nothing that we can do to match. We can't give you oh, they're giving you that, then here, we can give you this as well. A few reasons. One, it comes to funding. Remember I said earlier, the priority date, the earlier you apply with the FAFSA, you submit it to us, the earlier we can go ahead and offer you these other awards that you may be eligible for. Just to give you a little glimpse, an example, let's just say that we have 10 students who all qualify for the FSAG, and each student can receive $100 from that FSAG, but we only got $800 of that FSAG. So to be fair, we're going to give it to the first student on a first come, first serve. And once those funds are gone, we can't do anything about that. So we do not match. We can't match because there's no funding. Now, undergrad admissions might find something that they seem that is interested that they could use for UCF. They see something in you and they extend the offer, but they do that way early. And again, the earlier you apply, the earlier you'll know about these scholarships. Your college, for example, I know that the UCF Music has some scholarships that, let's just say, hey, I'm short on a trumpet player and this guy's great, this girl's great, and I want her to come here, so let's make her an offer. We have a scholarship account, let's make that offer. In those instances, maybe, but financial aid office, no, we do not match anything like that. But if you find that, again, if you find that out-of-state university that has better offer than UCF, then yeah. But again, I don't think any other university in Florida, if there is one, can match that. I gotta put that.
Right, and that's definitely a question we also get in regards to merit scholarships. If we match awards from other institutions, unfortunately, the same would apply for not. You're welcome to get us that information. However, we cannot guarantee that we'll be able to match any scholarship that you may have received from another institution. Now, this session was definitely full of great questions. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to all the questions. We probably just have time for one more. But Rick, after you respond, you can definitely let us know how we can connect with you.
Absolutely.
How families can connect with you if they have additional questions to ask. To wrap up the session, the question that we have is in regards to the Irs Data Retrieval tool. So the 2021 incoming student timeline says that in April, we should update the FAFSA with tax information using this data retrieval tool. Is this necessary?
Well, the IRS data retrieval becomes available October 1st. Remember, students, parents, you are using prior year tax information. Now, if you amended your taxes or something like that, then maybe, yeah, you can go ahead and make those manual changes. But the IRS data retrieval becomes available the same day the FAFSA becomes available, and it's going to let you know whether or not you are eligible for it. The majority of the applicants are. Go ahead and complete that then and there. But I haven't seen anyone go back onto the FAFSA after using the IRS data retrieval to retrieve it because they've done an amendment to it. If anything, then they would have to provide a copy of the amendment to the university at a later date if they are selected for a process called verification. But no, the IRS data retrieval, as soon as it becomes available, is the same day that it becomes available with the FAFSA. Go ahead and get it done. The best way to get a hold of us, and again, one of my co-workers is going to go ahead and push this out there, is through email, finaid@ucf.edu. It's going to take a little bit of time to go ahead and respond to you, but we can answer any general emails out there that you have. For example, the question you just provided to me, then we can answer those questions. Specifics, I would say then create an appointment with us. Go out there and get an appointment with us through our website. When you go to the financial aid website, you'll see it immediately. It says, set up a virtual appointment, click on it and meet with us. As long as you have your Zoom on, your camera, whatnot, we can go ahead and disclose a lot of personal information because we know who you are, and definitely do that. You can also call us and contact us on the phone. Because we're not in the office just yet, I need to make sure that you understand that it is going to be very, very, very busy, and it's going to be a pretty bit of a wait time. So either through email or through the virtual appointment. And I find a lot of success with the parents and students who join us together through the virtual appointment, doing it that way. So definitely reach us out that way. Any questions on here that we did not answer, by all means, go out there. As a matter of fact, we have a cool little guy on our website called Nightbot, who can answer a lot of your questions in multiple languages. So throw a wrench in there and see if he can answer your question in your preferred language, and see if it can be done. But definitely our website, set up the appointment, call us or email us. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate the time. My apologies again for the technical difficulties, but I hope we answered your questions as best as we could at this time. And I wish you all much success. I wish everyone to continue to stay safe. And as we're telling all our Knights, make sure that you all continue to armor up. Be well. Go Knights.
Thank you, Rick. We definitely appreciate you.
Thanks, Rick. And thank you to Kiana, to Zamara, and also Angelica from our Office of Student Financial Aid for answering questions in the chat, as well as members from undergraduate admissions who are helping out as well. We're going to take a 10-minute break in our program. Our next session is, I'm completely drawing a blank here. It's called Know Before You Go. And we'll be joined by some representatives from the Office of Housing and Residence Life and First Year Experience to talk to you a little bit about the preparations that you should be making now to get ready for orientation, to get ready for move-in, to get ready for the start of either the summer or the fall semester. So we're really excited to give you some additional information about prep work that can be done now before you end up enrolling here at UCF. So we'll see you right back here at about 4 p.m. And thanks for hanging with us.